about 130,000 square kilometers. So that's very close to 50,000 square miles. So that's why it's considered the largest country in Central America. It's Nicaragua. Population in Nicaragua it's about 5.5 million, but the 70% is located along the Pacific coast and the central area. 70%. The main cities: Rivas, Granada, León, Chinandega, and the capital of Nicaragua, Managua. It's the most crowded city, the capital, Managua. Probably it's about 1.5 million living in Managua. We also say when the visitors they come to our country, welcome to the land of lakes and volcanoes, because you will see that we have plenty of them. Well, this day you will see a couple of them, a couple of these volcanoes, active volcanoes, and also we have plenty of water, lakes, greater lakes, rivers, all over the country. In Nicaragua, we have a total of 88 rivers all over the country, 19 crater lakes, and 2 huge lakes, Lake Managua and Lake Nicaragua, which is the second largest lake in Latin America, after Titicaca in Bolivia and Peru in South America. So here in Nicaragua is the second largest lake, and it's about 8,264 square kilometers. And just to have an idea how big is this lake, I always compare the lake to the Puerto Rico island, because it's almost the same size. Yeah, it's huge. I brought a map with me just to let you know, to have an idea about the place where we're located now. And I will point the place where we are now. Okay, we already passed the border, located along the Pacific coast, heading to the south, Peñas Blancas. Always driving on the Pan American Highway all the way up to Granada, the colonial city. That's right, Granada. From the border to the colonial city, it's 147 kilometers. So it takes probably like an hour and a half. Or probably 2 hours. Well, we don't know, because we have a lot of roadworks on the way. But probably an hour and a half to get to the colonial city. So that's Peñas Blancas, and the first city, when we already passed the border, is Rivas. So on the way, we will see the city, Rivas. Well, I mean the outskirts or the edge of the city, and also some small villages or small towns like Nandaime on the way to Granada. And that's a huge lake, Lake Nicaragua. But I would like to pass the map to every one of you to take a look at it. Okay, now we have here to the right, that's the Lake Nicaragua. The Lake Nicaragua. In the lake there are many islands. The largest one is Ometepe Island, and it's a touristic destination. A lot of young people that they do really like to practice extreme sports like hiking, camping, biking. I think this is the right place to come to see it, to come to visit. This kind of adventure in Ometepe Island. Well, the island is indeed 2 huge volcanoes, Concepcion and Maderas volcanoes. In Nicaragua we have a total of 26 volcanoes, and as I said, 6 of them are still active, and this is one of them, located in the Ometepe Island. So now we can see the volcano. Well, it's cloudy and hazy, but you can see part of them. volcano located to the left side, that's the Concepcion volcano, and it's one of the 6 active volcanoes. To the left, that's Concepcion, and well, has been well, active, very active, and well, 2 years ago, the government thought seriously to evacuate the people because 2 years ago, probably there will be an eruption, but it didn't happen. So anyway, the people there from the island, they don't want to leave the island. And the second volcano to the right side, that's Maderas. That one is extinct. But on top of the crater was formed a natural crater lake. So it has a spectacular view when you're on the top of the crater. Maderas volcano. The island is 270 square kilometers. Has a population probably of 30,000 people living in the island, and there are just 2 main cities, Moyogalpa and Altagracia. To get to the island, the easiest way is by a ferry. The ferry you can take it here in Rivas. There's a lake port nearby the city, and it's named San Jorge. So in San Jorge, this is a small town, you can take the ferry that leaves probably 2-3 times a day from San Jorge to Ometepe Island. And it takes probably 45 minutes, an hour to get to the island. So it's the easiest way. There's another one from Granada to Ometepe Island, but it takes probably 5-6 hours. Ometepe and Zapatera Island is located to the left side, and it's a smaller one, but that one is an archaeological site, Zapatera Island. In Zapatera Island were found pre-Columbian statuary or pre-Columbian carvings by an American archaeologist. His name was George Esquire, and he founded this collection of huge pre-Columbian statuary from 1860 to 1876. So today, this morning, we're going to visit a museum, and the museum is named Convento San Francisco, and in this museum there's an exhibition of these pre-Columbian carvings that they were found in Zapatera Island. Now that I'm talking about archaeological sites, we can say that the main tribe this main tribe that settled down along the Pacific coast, they were the Chorotegas. There were many groups or native communities, but the main one was Chorotegas tribe. And probably you heard that in Costa Rica, Nicaragua Bus Tour, and also this culture, they settled down too in that area, in the Nicaragua Bus Tour, in part of Honduras, and I think in El Salvador too. But here in Nicaragua, we can say that the Chorotegas tribe was the main tribe that settled down here in Nicaragua. Chorotegas tribe, they were part of Aztec people, and they came in different immigrations. Well, probably the first one was like 500 years after Christ, and the last one probably like 900 years after Christ, according to history. And the Chorotegas tribe, they had the same culture, the same language, and all the same traditions as the Aztec people, even the same language, as I said. So if you look at the map, the names of the city, like Managua, Ometepe, and Masaya, even Nicaragua is a native name from this language. There was a Nahuatl language. And well, now that we have lost, we can say that language, but the real pronunciation probably from Ometepe, it was like Ometepetl. But now we just say Ometepe. That means Ome means two, and Tepec is like mountains. So a place with two mountains. Sort of the translation of from this native language, Nahuatl language. Masaya, which was the cradle, the birthplace of this culture. Masaya means land of deer or tierra de venados. And all these with different meanings. So Ometepe was one of them, of these native names from the Chorotegas tribe. Nicaragua was discovered by Christopher Columbus in his last and fourth trip in 1502. And according to history, it was coming after a heavy rain across the Caribbean coast near to Honduras. And they were trying to find a piece of land to stop because they were tempted to be killed after this heavy rain or storm. And they found a piece of land located in the Atlantic coast in Nicaragua, heading to the Honduras border, a cape. The cape is named Cabo Gracias a Dios. And Christopher Columbus, he named it like this because it seems that he really thanked to God that they were saved in this piece of land, the cape. But the translation might be thanks to God in Spanish, Cabo Gracias a Dios. And it's a piece of land, a cape, in the Atlantic coast near to the Honduras and Nicaraguan border. It's Cabo Gracias a Dios. That was in 1502. Okay, now we have different views, both sides of the road. To the right is still the lake and the two huge volcanoes, and to the left, part of some farms. They have some crops, you will see it, and cattle for exploitation, good quality, different kind of breeds in Nicaragua, like Holstein, Brown Swiss, Indo Brazil, Beef Master, Brahman, and the crops that you will see people grow in this area. Many are bananas plantations. You will see it on the way to Granada. Bananas plantations, many local fruits like mangoes, melons, watermelons, pineapples, papayas, huge papayas in this area, and sugar cane fields as well. We're still driving on the Pan American Highway, and we will find the first intersection. There's a secondary road that turns to the left, but we will continue straight ahead. So the first intersection that you will see, if we would turn to the left, is heading to the Pacific Ocean. There's a touristic destination named San Juan del Sur. A few years ago, it was a small village, a fishing village, and now it's turning into like a touristic destination. A lot of hotels and resorts in this small village that is becoming a big city. San Juan del Sur. The high season, all the cruise ships, they come to San Juan del Sur, and now there's a lot of investment, and the city is growing very fast. There's increasing tourism in that area, so you will see all the many real estate agencies selling and buying all the properties, gated communities everywhere, and it's a boom in tourism in Nicaragua. It's one of the main cities visited all over the country, San Juan del Sur. And from the La Virgen is the intersection. If we would turn to the left, it probably is like 20 kilometers, heading always to the ocean, the Pacific Ocean. In the middle of 1800s, San Juan del Sur, which is a port, is one of the main seaports in the Pacific coast in Nicaragua. There's another one, it's named Corinto, and it's the only deep water port, Corinto, near to Honduras border. But here, this one, Corinto, San Juan del Sur became one of the main important seaports in Nicaragua in the middle of 1800s. and I will let you know why. Because in those days, in the middle of 1800s, it was very difficult to travel from coast to coast in the U.S. So there was a businessman, an American businessman. His name was Cornelius Vanderbilt, and the man, he came with a brilliant idea. So in those days it was very difficult because to travel in the U.S. from coast to coast, because the native communities, too many disease, there was no railroad system in those days. So he established the first steamships company, and the idea was to take all the passengers all the way down from New York across the Caribbean side to Nicaragua. So if you take the map, you can see we have a natural canal that is Rio San Juan River. So the idea was to take all the passengers all the way down from New York to Rio San Juan River, and then to Lake Nicaragua, and from the Lake Nicaragua to La Virgen, the lake port, and from La Virgen taking all these passengers to San Juan del Sur. Of course, in those days, by horse-drawn carriages to San Juan del Sur. There was another steamship waiting for the passengers and taking all the way up to California. And remember, those was the days of the California gold rush, and all the people they really wanted to be in California. So in the opposite ways, it takes probably 40 or 50 years in transit route. Okay, this is the intersection. If we will turn to the left, it's heading to San Juan del Sur. So we continue, we go on driving on the Pan American Highway. And Cornelius Vanderbilt, he became a millionaire in those days. So the business ended and was established the railroad system in the United States. There was an American writer that he wrote, well, he described what he saw because he did the transit route. He described what he saw, I mean, vegetation, the volcanoes, island. His name was Mark Twain. So he wrote nice words about our country. He described the volcanoes, the vegetation, people, economy in those days. He did the transit route in 1865. Nicaragua was discovered in 1502, but it was just 20 years later when the first expedition came from Panama and was commanded by Gil González Dávila and Andrés Niño. Gil González Dávila, we can say, was the first Spanish conqueror. Well, he came to recognize all the lands here in Central America. He came from Peru and then to Panama. In Panama, there was the largest Spanish fort in Portobelo. So from Panama came the first expedition and was commanded by Gil González Dávila and the Admiral Andrés Niño. The expedition split in Golfo de Nicoya, the Nicoya Gulf, and part of the expedition came overland to Rivas and San Jorge, the lake port. And part of this expedition came across the ocean to San Juan del Sur and was commanded by Andrés Niño. 1522. In San Jorge, and we have to say this, in San Jorge was the first match between the native communities and the Spanish people. The first a native chief that he met the Spanish conquerors was Cacique So one of the versions that I heard that probably Nicaragua is named like this probably is in honor to this native chief, Nicaragua, that was one of the warriors of this tribe, the Chorotegas tribe, Cacique Nicaragua. Then the expedition continued to the central area of Nicaragua, but there were other native chiefs, but they didn't welcome to these troops, and there was a fight. Cacique Diriangen, Cacique Niquecherit, so those are the names of different native chiefs. But they fought against the troops, the Spanish troops, and the expedition they had to retreat to go back to Panama in 1523. The same year came a second expedition, but this time was commanded by Francisco Hernandez de Córdoba. Francisco Hernandez de Córdoba, he came with another vision. He didn't come to Nicaragua to recognize. He came to occupy the lands. More men came with this expedition. So Francisco Hernandez de Córdoba founded the two colonial cities, Granada and León, from 1524 to 1530. And Francisco Hernandez was one of the main personalities probably in the colonial times, the colonial period, or the colonial conquest in Nicaragua. He founded the colonial city Granada, as I said, from 1524 to 1532, and he started to build the city from a native community that was named Jalteva. From Jalteva, was located to the northeast of the city. Was a small village. He started to build the colonial city. From there to the main square, that now we know as the main square in Granada. So the Spanish people, the idea was to erase all these cultures, like the Chorotegas tribe, because they started to build the cities. The main buildings, like the government buildings, churches, cathedral, or living the native communities beneath the structure of the new city in those days. I'm telling you this because everywhere you go in Latin America, you will find beneath the structure of the colonial cities, the native communities, or the structure of these native communities, the temples. So it was the same here in Granada. So they started to build the city from Jalteva. Jalteva was this part of the Chorotegas community, and he started to build the city from there, located to the northeast, to the current main square of Central Park, Parque Colón. He named it like this, Parque Colón. Okay, now we are in the outskirts of the city, Rivas. We're in the edge of the city, so the city is located to the left. And probably we can see part of some of the domes of the parish. Iglesia San Pedro, in honor to Saint Peter. And also to the right, the local baseball stadium. Baseball is like an American heritage in Nicaragua. And I would let you know them later. So nowadays we have good baseball players in the major leagues in the US. But the greatest one was considered like a national hero. Now he's retired. Was Dennis Martinez, and he played to different teams in US. It was in 1991, 1992. Dennis Martinez, he played the number 10, who played the perfect game. And he was from here. He's from here, from Nicaragua. He plays from the Indians. many teams. In 1970s to the last one was 1992, 1993. Dennis Martinez in the major leagues. One of the greatest pitchers in Nicaragua, and he's from Granada. Dennis Martinez is from Granada, and he comes once in a while. He comes to visit his family, but he spent part of his time in Los Angeles, California. Dennis Martinez, and nowadays we have good baseball players. There's one boy, yeah, that's right, to the left. That's one of the domes of the city, the city and one of the domes of the church, in honor to Saint Peter, la parroquia, the parish, in honor to Saint Peter, la parroquia en honor a San Pedro, en Rivas, la ciudad de Rivas. There's a boy named Hansek, it's a prospect, and his name's Hansek. He's from the Atlantic coast. He's playing for the Red Sox, Boston Red Sox. Vicente Padilla, playing for Texas Rangers. Vicente Padilla. Good baseball players. And in Central America, there are just two countries that plays baseball: Panama and Nicaragua. The rest of the countries, they play soccer. Okay, there's a little roundabout. If we would jump to the right, it's heading to San Jorge, the airport, where we go on the Pan American Highway. Temperatures in Nicaragua along the Pacific coast, we have an average probably from 88 to 96, 100 degrees Fahrenheit in summertime, the dry season. In Nicaragua, we just have two seasons, the dry season and the rainy season. And we are ending the dry season. The dry season ends this month in April, and next month start the rainy season, the month of May, and of course 6 months of rainy season and 6 months of the dry season. So it ends probably the rainy season the month of October, November. So this is the hottest. This is the hottest month in Nicaragua, and you will feel it in Granada and in Masaya. Just here in the Pacific coast, there's a variety of weather. In the central area of Nicaragua, we have the highlands, the highest mountains located in that area, the central area, and there's the right and perfect place for the coffee plantations, all the coffee business, the highest mountains, and the main cities like Estelí, Matagalpa, Quinotega. And the temperatures, of course, is very pleasant. It's cooler. It's pleasant, from 60 to 75 degrees Fahrenheit, and it's very pleasant. It's different from here. And in the Atlantic coast, a lot of humidity. I think the whole year, humidity. A lot of mangroves, jungle mangroves in that area. So nowadays it's very difficult trying to get to the Atlantic coast just by boats, by river, or by planes to get to the main cities like Bluefields and Corn Island. There's just one port. It's Bilwi or Puerto Cabezas that recently, a few months ago, was hit by a hurricane. Hurricane Felix hit the Atlantic coast in Nicaragua. If you look at the map in the Atlantic coast, we just have a population probably at 20%, less than that, because of the the conditions of weather and soil. Bluefields is one of them, and Corn Island, the touristic destination, Corn Island. There are two very, very nice, beautiful, those two islands, Little Corn Island and Great Corn Island. Very nice, white sands, Corn Island. Okay, and if you look at the map, then the names of the cities still remains in English words, because in the colonial time, the colonial period, English people, I mean pirates, buccaneers, they brought slaves from Africa, and not just in Nicaragua, I mean in Central America and the Caribbean islands. All this community, they settled down in that area, and now it's part of our country. So the variety, not just in weather, I mean people, culture is different. The names of the cities still remains like this, as I said in English words. Bluefield, Corn Island, Pearl Lagoon, Monkey Point, and a Creole English is spoken nowadays in Bluefield and Corn Island. And also native communities that they have their own language, like Sumos, Mosquitos, and Ramas. And remember that I said that there were two autonomous zones, because these communities, they have their own rules, their own native chief and local elections. They are protected and respected by the same time by the central government. These communities are named Mosquitos, Sumos, and Ramas. So now we can see some of these bananas plantations to the right and left side. Some papayas trees, grapes, mango trees. So it ended last month, the season of mangoes. So the Rivas is also named the city of mangoes. A lot of mango trees everywhere. The bananas plantations. Coconut trees, some oranges trees too, coconut trees, new tropical almond trees. There's a tree that has a wonderful shade. You can see both sides of the road. We name it well, we name it like the Robert tree. It has a very special native name, Chilamate, or Arbol de Chilamate. Has a wonderful shape. It's Arbol de Chilamate.